Hello and welcome. I'm Thomas and this is Wonder of Existence. Channel called Wonder of Existence. And I've got Mike and Hirt on my left and right hand side. As you know us, we discuss quite difficult topics for majority of us. Lately we've been talking about the reality. I just came to the position that perhaps we should be talking about reality as virtual reality, something which, in my view, makes quite a lot of sense. Let's assume that we are part of the virtual reality. So whatever you see around is real to you, but it's actually not real, because the real world exists, but not really here, and we are just sort of either toys or perhaps avatars, or maybe artificial, or maybe just users used by the real user outside of this reality. That goes, it goes with the direction of having reality created by computers. It doesn't have to be reality created by the computers as we know these days, because our computers are most likely not that advanced to create such a complex environmental situations we see with our eyes. But if assuming that there is something, or there is someone, or some civilization, or perhaps God, whatever we call it, existing for thousands, perhaps millions of years, what do you think? What's the possibility that this reality is just created for either for fun or just to explore some new aspects of different world without knowing that actually you are not who you are? For now you are Mike, you are here, and I am Thomas, and we are in this reality, which to me sounds or looks like is quite virtual. Let's kick it off with Mike. Mike, what would you see? What do you see if you look around? What do you see? I know that you see something which is unreal, but can virtual reality...
I see exactly the same as everybody else. It looks real, but I have a different perspective on it all. For me, based on my own experiences and research and perspective, that this is a virtual reality, certainly, and every other reality is a virtual reality. All realities are virtual in that they don't exist objectively, they're subjective experiences. And the computer programmer and the computer is consciousness. That's it. All there is consciousness, and consciousness thinks a reality into being, and this is one of them, and we are the characters, but we're also part of the bigger consciousness system that has thought this reality up. But there's lots of other realities that we will be able to experience when we're finished with this one, and maybe we've been here many times before and played this sort of computer game, although computer is not the word I would use. It's just it's a reality system. It's a program created out of thought, imagination. It's been imagined into existence.
And then that copes with the fact that we have reincarnation, because then
you can if you think of everything as created by imagination, then everything that can be imagined exists or can exist not necessarily in this particular reality program, but in another reality program, certainly. So there's always room for a god and a devil. There's always room for aliens. There's always room for vampires and werewolves and fairies and trolls and
But does it mean that you put this all in
It
one,
doesn't all
in
have
one
to be.
bucket?
No, it doesn't have to be here, but they exist because they exist in imagination, and since imagination, thought, consciousness is fundamental, then it can create anything and everything, and because it can create anything and everything, it probably already has done. But this is one of those virtual realities that has been created by consciousness, of which we are also a part, individually and collectively, that we create this solid, or virtually solid reality, physical reality, for a purpose of experience. And I get that because I study dreams and other what could call dreams, which is out of body experiences, and they are equally solid when you're in them, and you can explore them with the same awareness that you've got in this reality, so you can compare the two, and I know those experiences are virtual compared to this one. So my logic tells me that this one is also virtual, and I know that for those worlds, those are the realities that I've explored and experienced. I've not taken a computer, or I don't have to be a programmer to create them. They're created just like that, instantly out of imagination. And I've done experiments in them where I've created solid objects just by thinking about them. You know, oh, I want an aeroplane, motorcycle, car. You know, young newborn 20-year-old. There you go. And you can create anything. Cup of coffee. There you go. Beautiful coffee. Fantastic coffee. I've managed to drink and experience, and you can do that with thought. So the same logic tells me that this whole universe, this physical universe, is also just created from thought. So it's not real; it's virtual.
But you mentioned that you can create a beautifully tasteful coffee. In order for you to register it as tasteful coffee, you need to first experience that, so then you can compare that, right?
Well, yeah.
So I'm trying to say that you wouldn't be able to say that this is tasty without tasting it first. So you tasted it in this, let's say, reality, then you go to your virtual reality, let's say your...
Well, you have the same sort of senses, the same sort of senses are working, but there's extra senses on top as well that you don't get in this reality.
No, I know, but what I'm trying to say is that you first have to try this this coffee in order later on to reproduce it, because what you do during your lucid dreams, you create reality.
Is a mirror from this.
But you're doing it based on the data from this real world.
But what I'm doing in this life could also be the data from a previous experience, you know?
Correct.
It's just a way of understanding it which makes sense to me, that every experience, every reality is created by thought, and we experience them.
But let me ask you this question, actually question to both of you, or to all of us. Just I'm pretty sure you've heard about this theory of loopless number of, or countless number of looped realities, which means that, let's assume that we live in this reality. Our civilization is progressing year by year, day by day, whatever. At some point, we are so advanced that we are on a position to create virtual reality. The creatures which live in this virtual reality, at some point they are conscious enough to realize that they are alive. And they start progressing themselves, developing themselves. So they create their own civilization. but they are in our virtual reality, but they don't know about it, right? But they still progress, and at some point they create within their reality, their virtual reality. According to some theories, we might be some thousands of 1 millions of the civilizations created just in these loops.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? How do you see that? Do you think that this is possible? Do you treat this as possibility, or do you think it's completely unreal? Here, what do you think about it?
For me, it's possible, but it as according to my introduction, I'm a primitive, egoistic person, so I only have my only experience in this moment that is for me serious. So what is my feeling that I have to do in this reality, virtual reality, and next to reality I will see what I will try to feel also what I have to do here. So for me it's a possibility, but I never think serious about it, because I'm only busy with feeling what do I have to do here in this reality.
Yeah.
And well, if it's created by aliens or gods or what's the difference maybe, well, then I have to do something in that reality too, and I hope that it feels okay that I'm now able to think that and to feel that there is no other reality that controls me, but just have to feel myself what I have to do.
Yeah.
So, well, that's maybe primitive, but that's my solution of this problem of possibilities.
But this way you limit yourself, let's say, to this reality, to this option where you are.
It's a lot of work. This reality is a lot of work. So
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that's the difference between Geert and I is the focus. We understand and pretty much believe the same things, but he's got a different task, and his focus area is here and now. And while still being connected to a greater understanding, it's still here. And mine isn't. Mine is to be connected here, but my focus is there.
Why do you think how do you benefit out of it, or what do you want to achieve based on that, or what do you think what's the point of it then? Don't you think that, let me tell you this way, I've got examples of people who believe that we shouldn't be flying around with our thoughts, because there's no point, because whoever created us, whoever has a point of us to be here, wants us to focus on this life, and we should be doing the daily tasks in this physical reality. Why would you like to fly away from it, and why would you like to do something else?
Well, have you read the rule book?
Yeah, I did.
Which rule book?
Hmm?
The rule book.
Rule book, yeah.
The one that tells you what you should be doing here on Earth when you come here.
Yeah.
I haven't read it. I haven't
No?
seen it. No, I don't know what it is.
read it.
I
Read it. We
I
know.
I did read it.
Yeah, and we're supposed to focus on here. Yeah.
The thing is that nobody knows why we're here. That's why we actually discuss.
You said you knew.
Hmm?
You said you knew.
I know, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Oh, it's a joke, is it? No, it's what interests me. You know, I can understand why Geert and other people are interested in here and now, and some people are interested in here and now, but actually don't go as far as Geert does. Geert is interested in his experience of here and now. I'm interested in what's out there, and that's just fascinates me more. I know I feel grounded here in the here and now, and I know there's things I could learn from experiencing. But my impulse my interest is somewhere else. Just like Geert has an interest to go and play football or go running, and I don't. Where does that come from? Maybe our purpose here is all to play football. But yeah, I'm not going to sort of accept that. I want to do the things I want to do. I have different interests. Everybody has different interests, and it's those different interests that tell you that you should be actually focusing on something else and shouldn't all be focusing on the same thing. And my focus is on what's beyond here, and I explore that through dreaming.
No, nobody is saying that something is good or something bad, because as
No,
we
but
already
you asked me
discussed,
why I do that.
Yeah, we already
What I
discussed-
gain from it is satisfaction in the exploit, in the exploration, in the activity. It is an activity that I enjoy doing, and I get a lot of insight and pleasure, and also again what we were talking about before. I get a lot of security. And it gets rid of a hell of a lot of problems of this world for me. It just makes this life so easy to actually believe that this is just another virtual reality.
For me, it's the difference is not that big, because I'm in my activity as for example, the playing football. I'm looking for the other world too.
Yeah.
And most football players are not interested in that other world in the soccer, in
Yeah.
playing football. And for me, running is not for my physical state. I'm just experiencing what would happen if I have that rhythm in a physical activity like running. What will happen? So I'm looking for another world in the activity.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
you're
the
looking
same.
you're trying to understand yourself
Yeah.
through that activity.
Activities. Yeah.
And I'm doing the same, but with different activities. That's
the
really
activity.
no
Different,
difference.
yeah.
It's
No
just different activities, yeah. And I think you're doing exactly the same.
I think we
You're
all,
doing it through your interest in computers, through this channel, setting this channel, and through the questions you're asking. You're doing exactly the same thing, but you just got a slightly different approach because of your activity is different. Your interest field is different.
And the interesting thing is that if you we meet each other in making music, and then those activities can
intertwine,
influence,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
influence. And we are meeting on the soccer field, and then what happens then? That's for me interesting.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Yeah.
So I have I say I have no friends, but I have people who are in the activity connected with me, and some other people call them friends. But now I have a friend, I think. And with the same activity, it started with sport, then it started working. It's now lasting 35 years. And now, I always warned him, there will be a border on our equal. And I'm not I have no friends, so then it's finished. If we reach the border together, the friendship for me is abstract. I don't like that concept of friendship. So if the activity stops, then it stops. Our common activity.
you mean interactions?
Interaction. So, I warned him in a very early state that that's for me. That's
It's like
what the risk is of my.
Journey companions, you
Yeah.
could say. Couldn't
Yeah.
you?
But let's
And
keep that.
I think now the moment is reached that we. So it's very for me. It's very, very, very.
Yeah.
I'm interested. What happens now? I think we reached the border.
A split.
So. What happened? That split.
Yeah.
But for him, that's impossible. We did so much together. We had so much interesting experience together. Oh, so what? And now I just told him, well, I think we reached the border. So what happens then? So then there starts difficulty. Because he thinks I have a friend. I had a friend. I don't. I just have people with activity. Just in my activity, I investigate the other worlds.
Now, this is great discussion. This is more related to the social aspect, and I'm happy to discuss that. And we can set up a meeting next time. Whose friend?
Yes, but
That's
that's
a very
that's
good question,
only an
actually.
example
No,
in,
I know,
in different in
I know,
different
but
realities.
But let's focus for another few minutes on the reality, or especially virtual reality. So, if we assume that we might be part of the virtual reality, there might be thousands or millions of such realities. As we just discussed, we might be just one small promille existing somewhere, not really big fuss to anyone. Or we might be very important experiment for somebody or something. Just trying to figure out how you position yourself in this reality. Do you think you are part of the particle God? Or let's say like particle God, or maybe
I don't know the word.
No, I mean like you are part of the of God. You are just one particle of God.
God.
Oh, maybe I'm pronouncing that
Yeah.
not clearly. God. Or do you still believe that there must be someone at the very beginning to initiate this process of even this visual reality, who we call God, or religions call this God? We can call it, say, source, or this basic information, or whatever it is. But do you, it's this endless discussion about the chicken or egg, right?
Yeah.
I'm just also wonder, what do you think about
I
it?
think I'm very I'm not high in the hierarchy of beings. I think I'm somewhere under maybe the lowest, and have to it's my task to be a member of a low level in the hierarchies of beings that are there, and be sufficient with my task. So it's not a real. I don't. It doesn't bother me too much. I'm too simple for it, maybe. So I really enjoy my task here, and I don't question 1,000 or 2,000 or millions or God. For me, God is a possibility, but not the gods that people tell me of. I don't trust the people that are
in religions.
No matter what sort of people. I always listen. I try to listen to them, and I try to feel if it's only what is it vanity, or is it anxiety? Is it? I always try to go under it. If you have a talk about God with those people, and I always try to listen. What is your reason that you need a concept like this, like God or a computer or other things? So I'm always looking to what's behind the concept.
All those topics are connected, obviously, because virtual reality or reality is connected to the God or the source or the point of existence. But still just trying to figure out what you think.
Yeah. No, one thing in the beginning, it's the movie. I'd never seen it, the Truman story.
Yeah. Truman Show.
Truman Show. It's called. Oh, yeah. That movie. You know that Truman Show?
I'm not sure if I watched it.
Well, this is always that. Well, there was built some town for a person with people in it.
Jim Carrey's in it.
And
it's a town in a dome. And he was born in the town, and everybody else around him were actors. And they made a TV program showing his life, but he believes in the reality. But everybody else is an actor, and everybody else was in on the game. And other people are watching this as a TV show. And it's just one guy, the producer, the director, who watches from above the dome, and they've got lights to make it, dark lights, sunlight, and things like this, and it's big enough to create an environment that he can explore, but he can't get out of it, and he's been conditioned through certain ways in his school life, in his youth, to fear water, and since they're surrounded by water, it keeps him imprisoned through his own belief and not through, but he's got this impulse, I want to go and explore, I want to try to see another country, and then there's never a plane that's available, there's never a boat that's available to get off the island, and it's fascinating.
But that I never seen the movie. The theme it's really fascinating.
So you read the book? You read the book?
No, I don't know if maybe there is a book, but Mike told me the story. But it's still for me not really pleasant. It's not the way I feel.
But this means that
not you say it's pleasant. It's not the way you want to feel, or you don't.
No, it's never.
Or
If
you don't
I
actually
look,
believe.
I try to look objectively to my feelings. Then it's not the way I feel.
That
in
it
my
is.
reality, that it is.
Well, that's that whole idea of that we're here and we're controlled.
Yeah.
We've been put here. We've been created here by something greater than us. And we're there to entertain them, or for them to do.
The entertainment point. I think it is not really agreeable.
No, I mean I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
That's what, and I choose. I know the possibility. I mean, I can accept the possibility that this is just a dome. This is a computer program, and we're trapped, and we're just characters created,
or just a zoo,
or just a zoo. Either, it could be, but it doesn't serve me to think like that. It's much more interesting to think, I put myself here.
But then you create a purpose for yourself, like purpose.
Well, there is no
perhaps
purpose.
You create
again, show
is.
me the book that says your purpose in life is. So, I can't, my logic tells me, well, there is no purpose except the one you choose. Give it a purpose, give it a meaning, and follow it. And you'll know if it feels right, because it'll make you happy or it'll make you really depressed.
Yeah. And then we come to the point of this virtual reality where, which we actually touched right now, which I wanted to talk about, but you just started it. Some people say or claim that we're not here because of our own decision. We are placed here by someone, and that someone or that something doesn't necessarily need to be something, let's say, very protective, or let's say very positive entity. That might be someone who wants us to actually go through this life and being hurt, feeling pain, and all kind of this negative. Energetic feelings.
If that's what they think, then good for them. I hope they have a nice life.
But how do you see that option?
I just choose not to believe that. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me to think like that. And if those people want to think that, then fine. They've got no more proof or less proof than I have. But they seem to choose one that doesn't serve them and makes them feel scared and imprisoned. I don't get it. I don't know why they would choose that, but obviously they enjoy it, thinking like that. I think we're consciousness is just like a computer system, but it's a system. It's a living system. It's sort of almost like an organism. It lives, and then it wants to know itself. And the only way to know itself is to expand and grow and evolve. And certain ways it tries to do that doesn't work, so it doesn't do them again. It tries something else, and it tries something else, and it keeps expanding and it keeps expanding. And like all living systems, the idea is to evolve, because if you don't evolve, you go into entropy, you devolve, you stagnate, and you die out. No living organism, no living entity wants to die. That's what life is. It's to grow and expand, and that's the only way to keep alive, is to keep moving. in growth and in new experiences and new frontiers and everything. Otherwise, you stagnate and you wilt and you disappear. And you know, hate, love, or fear and love. One way is cooperation, that helps to grow, and the other way is the sort of fear way, the negative way, which doesn't lower the entropy of the system, but causes it to shrink away. Well, that's not positive. So I prefer the positive view, and this is just one reality, one experience of a whole fractal pattern of experiences that consciousness has grown from at one source out and out and out and keeps growing.
You know, I watched a program about virtual reality, program with some scientists, so let's say authorities. Those authorities said, like, if you would like to simulate whatever everyone's on the earth, so let's say 7 billion of people sees on a daily basis with their naked eye, whatever they observe, anything, it exists with a different angle, different lighting, all kind of aspects. This all needs to be simulated. They said that we are nowhere in order to, with the current technology level, we are nowhere in order to simulate that number of information which needs to be constantly in exchange. But they said, like, if probably you give us thousands of years, we might reach this level. It's possible. It's possible. It's trillions of informations every single second. But if we can, if it's mathematically it's proven that it's possible. If it's possible, that means that we can reach that level. And you know that whenever we say, like, people used to say, like, oh, we are not birds, we're not going to fly. And what happened? A few thousand years later, we fly.
This is very, very, very simple.
I know, but it makes sense.
I mean, you've got to
think?
think, if you're trying to render a universe like this, you've got to render all the space and all the atoms and molecules and particles that make up the atoms. You've got to work at that level to build up, and then you've got to recreate the whole system. You know, okay, you can say, well, give it 1,000 years, I create this, and then let the program run itself, and it'll come back when it's complete, and then I can watch it. And I have a theory about that. That we're not built up from particles, and in natural progression built up. I believe consciousness created everything whole, and it's only when consciousness starts cutting itself up, it starts creating the smaller parts. But we were created originally just out of thought, complete. Instead of being built up out of small building blocks, we're actually complete, and we only discover the building blocks by chopping us up. But that's
another topic.
That's another topic.
But let me finish off this topic with one more remark regarding the virtual reality, and then we stop. You know how currently our games look like? I mean, in terms of what's actually rendered, what actually shown to the user, it actually exists. I mean, it's displayed on the monitor to you. So in order to save the CPU calculations, you just need to cut whatever needs to be displayed to the user only. So whatever, let's say, if you are in this artificial reality in the game, you're playing with the first row game, let's say, and you see the, let's say, warrior coming with the sword and fighting. You see something what he sees from his perspective. So whatever he sees is what will be rendered for you as a user playing this game. Whatever is behind this is not displayed. It does exist in the code, in the program, but computer doesn't calculate that in order not to show it, because it takes so much time for CPU. So you only see some very tiny piece of matter, reality, artificial, virtual reality. What I'm trying to say is that if you look at the quantum physics And the way how it works, the scientist says that, or they claim, it works exactly the same. That gives me this feeling that the direction I go is the one which, assuming that the quantum physics is right and it does exist, my feeling is that if we start using it, because you know that quantum physics is about that there must be an observer. If there's an observation, then something happens, otherwise it doesn't happen. So you need to have someone, the observer. Observer is the user. I am the user of the game, I'm playing the game. While I'm using it, the reality is being created, otherwise it's not there. Although it's part of the program, so physically it doesn't exist, but it appears in front of my eyes whenever I need that. And the same might be here. Who said that there's another building next to your building here? There might not be building. I mean, physically we know it exists, it does exist, but in order to see it, you have to go outside and see it. But obviously you can say, but there are different human beings walking around, they can confirm, yes, this building is there.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that this, let's say, Earth big object is constantly generated, constantly rendered. So we see it. And that's the capacity of, let's say, the system. But whatever is further away, we don't see that details. Obviously, we can use the telescope, right, and look way further. Still, we don't see details. Even if we see details, let's say we see the moon, we see only from one side. We don't know what's from the other side. Maybe there's nothing. Maybe whatever is there pops up once there's someone flying with the craft and seeing it. But that's something maybe for the next time to discuss. I don't know if you want to add anything at the end of this video. No?
No, leave it till next time.
All right, perfect.
As always, it's a massive subject.
Indeed. All right, thank you very much, Mike and Hid. As always, been a pleasure,
Of course.
and hope to see you again. Thank you, and talk to you next time.